Mic check. Welcome back to another episode of the Second Half Podcast, where we talk to business leaders, former executives, community leaders, and athletes about their journey and how they found success post their career. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like, follow, and subscribe. We got an incredible and exciting podcast coming your way on the second half. I got my brothers, Carlton and Corey, joining the second half. They are the co-producers of the new film on Prime Video called Meal Ticket, where they unpack everything. I'm excited to dive into this conversation. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. Carlton Savs, Corey Colvin, welcome to the Second Half Podcast, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me, man.
Pleasure to be here, brother. It's an honor.
Yes, sir. Well, look, let's dive right into it, man. Like, y'all have really set the city on fire, the storytelling of what you guys have with Meal Ticket. But let's go back, man. Where y'all from? Like, let the people know.
Man, I'm from, South Shore, man, South Side Chicago, man, 75th and Jeffrey. Used to ride the 6 Jeffrey bus. I don't even know if it still exists, man. But, yeah, man, actually, me and Corey are both from the South Side. Didn't even know we were, playing on the same fields of Catholic school rivals. Mount Carmel. Yeah, I went to Mount Carmel High School, and Corey went to De La Salle,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So y'all started off right there, just connecting the dots right there on the field as well.
Didn't even know, though. Didn't even know. Like, we met, we crossed paths for real and fully locked in when we started working at WVON together. Like, so we met working in radio. I was going to St. Xavier at the time, and I had got my first job. When I was focused, like when I had really locked in on wanting to do TV and radio production, and I met Carlton, at the radio station, and we realized that we had a bunch of stuff in common. Grew up on the south side of Chicago, over east as we would call it.
Yep, over east.
Spent a lot of time on Stony Island. Fast forward, that's why we got the production company, Stoney and Yates. Yep. Just both of us living over east. And yeah, we just started connecting the dots, man. We realized that we were like-minded, thinking brothers who had the same goals and aspirations and dreams. And we just realized, like, we connect, we partner up. Not a lot of people gonna be able to stop us. Like, we can just keep fighting, work together.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, because obviously the Oscars just came up. You just saw the incredible work that Sinners did, but when you look at the foundation of that, you had 2 incredible producers, right? You had, a connection between two black individuals who had a vision, just like you guys as well. And so, how did that kind of formulate itself again to say that actually we can go beyond this? This isn't just the radio station where you guys started. Like, when did it first click for you guys to say, all right, we can tap into something a bit more?
Man, I'm telling you, Corey and I feel like separately, grew up with similar childhoods of how we looked at art, film, storytelling, and everything. Because, like, growing up in Chicago, you had like Melvin Van Peebles and Robert Townsend and stuff. You saw, like, we were going to theater seeing Meteor Man, and you were like, oh man, and you learn like, oh, he's from Chicago,
right?
And, so then definitely in high school when Benji came out, 30 for 30 on Benji by Cootie and Chike, it was that just really struck a nerve in Chicago. And my father went to Simeon, so it was just like, okay, man, they show you, like, documentary storytelling, like maybe it's possible. So when Corey and I connected, we knew that, I'm like, man, we was working at big brand companies. I was at Live Nation and Shazam. Corey was at CNN, Revolt TV, CBS. So it's like we was working. He's coming like, Corey, man, I think we need to get control of our storytelling and get control of our narrative, man. Like, because, we have a great vision. We got a great vision. And can't make it up, man. We work on Genius with Netflix, right? We work with the rollout for the Kanye West doc, and meet Cootie and Chike. And instantly we hit it off, man. It was just like we've known each other for years. So it was just a full circle moment, man. And immediately they put the battery in our back. Like, if you guys want to get into long form storytelling, man, like, man, we see y'all we think y'all had the chops to do it. And then McDonald's All American Game documentary comes to us, man, and we hit the ground running.
Yeah, hit the ground running.
Yeah,
I love it, man.
That was the thing, because it was like, that was one of the things that Cootie had told us, because we, through our company, we were touching so many projects, so many things people were coming to us for our ideas, and we land on something, they like it, they ask us to produce it, see it through from scratch. And so Cootie was like, that's going to continue to happen, because you guys got the genius in you, like God is in there, he's giving y'all these ideas, these brands, these companies know it, and they're going to always come to you. But at some point, you're going to have to say, like, what is it that y'all want to do, And Carlton was like, man, we want to do a movie. Like, we want to direct.
You said, I'm jumping right out there. Hey, this is what we do.
Carlton was like, man, we want to be able to say we directed a feature-length film, because we were doing a lot of shorts, a lot of editorial stuff. Mm-hmm. I think we were hovering around that, maybe like 25, 30-minute mark on like our probably longest project that we had done, kind of thing. But it was like, yeah, we're going to do a feature. And Cootie was just like, it's going to happen. And Chike called Carlton maybe like 3 weeks after Genius came out and was like, we might have a project for you guys to direct. And he told Carlton about it. Carlton called me. We had our moment, and we was like, let's go. And before we knew it, we were on the phone, getting introduced, trying to get that sign off, that stamp of approval from Rock Nation, from McDonald, from Known, and people tended to rock. They rocked with us, and before we knew it, we were being trusted to tell this story that nobody had ever told before of this historic game.
Absolutely. Before we dive into, I definitely want to get there to get into Meal Ticket. There's something that you guys said that really had me thinking about is you guys were able to collaborate with those from the city, from Chicago. You were collaborating with people that oftentimes people say, man, they're not going to look out for you. You're going to have those people in the background chirping, no, that's not going to work out. How did you block out all that energy? Like, were you guys just that tight to just say, hey, man, like, we're going to make this happen?
Yeah, that's good, man. We know about Chicago getting the coin to Haterville.
Unfortunately, that's just reality of what the context of it is. You know what I mean? That's what people say, but this is different, man.
Yeah, I think it's an evolution of, from the city and seeing our superpowers out in the world and like how much we've impacted culture, everywhere. And I think Chicago's really starting to see like, man, we're a special place, man. It's a special city. And I know at the time, Corey and I was definitely, we became transplants in other cities. Like I'm in LA, Corey's in Atlanta, he was in New York. So I feel when it came to us with Genius, people will tell you that's not from Chicago. They are annoyed at how much Chicagoans there's out of there are talking about Chicago. Because as soon as we leave, we all link up.
Yep, exactly.
We all link up. But it was really cool because when we found out about the Genius Project, Corey reached out to GLC. You feel me?
The ism.
Ism, he talked to him. He linked us. He like, man, we need to get connected with Cootie before Netflix, and he make that happen. So GLC connects us the big bros are already, going beyond the whole coin Haterville, man. We was all coming together, man. And so then Cootie and Chike get on the call, and then there's love. And then they brought us to the premiere of Genius. So then we go there. And it's a lot of Chicago love in there, man. It's just everybody coming together. And it's a beautiful thing. George Daniels in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just generations of it, man.
Yeah. I love that. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's a new wave that's happening right now. And hopefully the youth is doing the same right now in the city,
Absolutely. Agreed.
Yeah, it's a plateau thing in Chicago, and Carlton to tell you, it used to frustrate the hell out of me, man.
I know it did.
Like I used to get to that point where, we working hard, we call ourselves making these waves in the city, and we getting stuff accomplished, but I feel like just with our spirit, we wanted more. It was like
Yep.
like we should be doing more,
Yep.
and unfortunately you can plateau, but you can plateau in Chicago, you can plateau anywhere, and depending on where you are, once you hit that ceiling, it's up to you whether you want to like just let that be the cap, or you want to let it frustrate you, or you just want to like just start spreading your wings and go somewhere else. And that's what Carlton did. He showed the way. He left. He had that the classic Chicago mobile. He had that white Chevy Impala. He packed that boy up and drove cross country with one of our other
Yep.
homies, Jeff Jackson, who was trying to follow his dreams too.
Yeah.
And they made that drive from Chicago to LA to keep going, pursuing their joint. I was back in Chicago, and I was like, I can't do this. I gotta go. I can't, I got, there's more that I feel like I'm put on earth to do than just still be in Chicago right now. And, at the time I had lost a job that I had with CBS, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. And in the meantime, I grabbed a gig at American Mattress, and I'm selling mattresses, tying king size mattresses to the roof of people's cars and shit with a shirt and tie on. And I'm like,
Just figuring shit out.
I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it. Like I gotta
Yeah.
keep the momentum going. I gotta get back on that horse. I got all these years in production. So I hit up Carlton after he had been there for a little bit, and was like, man, I got a opportunity I want to chase. Can I come crash on the couch? Can I hold the couch down? And they let me live in their living room. And even then, that got to a point for me where, God's plan, I ran that race from that time being in LA, and then that ran its course, and I had to go back to Chicago for a little bit, and I was mad about that. Carlton had to talk me off that ledge, bro. Like it's good, man. You came out here, did what you were supposed to do. You go back to Chicago with what you got from out here, and I did. Before that, I'm in New York. I'm doing my thing in New York. Carlton can continue to do his thing in LA, and like he said, he was just like, all right, it's time to do our own thing now.
Man. And when I tell you y'all did y'all own thing, and y'all second half, y'all did y'all big one with this new project, Meal Ticket, premiering on Prime Video today. Hey, man, let's talk about it. Meal Ticket, it is incredible. I was fortunate enough to get a preview and a glimpse beforehand, and I'm telling you, it brought back a certain level of energy and inspiration, not only because y'all my guys, but more importantly, like the nostalgia of the McDonald's game. Like, let's start, like, where did that, like, the idea of saying, hey, we're going to tap into this, where did that start at?
Man, I'll let Corey get into it. The first thing I want to say is thank you to Jabari because one of the first things that came to our mind was like, bro, we got to get Ronnie Fields in this film, man.
Yeah, man. I'm glad y'all hit me. I'm like, Ronnie, big bro, man, what he's done in the game and his story and his ups and downs, and he's still doing things to inspire the community through the game of basketball. So, of course, anytime my guys hit me, I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure it's happening. Y'all get after y'all dreams, man.
Yeah, no, that was a game changer. We was super grateful, and I'm glad he has his moment in there when he links up with
Yeah.
Man,
Yes.
But woo, I mean, what a behemoth of a story, man. 45 plus years. That such a big pressure to make sure we tell, do justice in telling this story, the McDonald's game.
Absolutely.
And we know what it means to the sports community, what it means to, basketball and the culture, and I feel like we was born to tell the story, to be honest. We were born, so we had a confidence. We felt like everything we experienced leading up to the point of getting to tell the story of McDonald's All-American game, we was ready. It built us up to hit the ground running. And, we started off with filming the 2022 class in Chicago, right? The game you pulled up to.
Yep.
And for us, man, because it was like we coming off of COVID, we didn't really know. Like, a lot of people didn't know who the players were. They didn't know like who was ranked what. It was a big shuffle going on. So we was just learning on the ground, really,
Yeah.
And we found out about Derek Lively. We found out about Janiyah Barker. Flaw J. Johnson. We didn't have to find out about her. She just ran up to us. She just ran up like.
She said, "Oh, me too. Y'all gonna include me in it? Hey, cool. Let's go."
I see the cameras. Yeah, y'all need to shoot.
I'm signing Rock Nation. I got to be in this.
Right, exactly.
And Amari Bailey. Like, once we got that experience, it kind of gave us a crash course of like what it's all about to be a McDonald's All-American. It's like we got our journey of like, okay, if we made the game, we see it. This is pretty beautiful. This is special. So when we went back to the EPs, we like, yo, these kids, and you may not know who they are, but man, this is something. We have something really, really unique here, and like feels like fresh and and great. And so we used that 2022 game. We put stuff together, grabbed some like archival footage that we had access to, and made a pitch tape. Made a pitch tape from that, and then went and like shopped it around the film, and that's how we came with Amazon. So Amazon came aboard. They was a really good partner. They got the global reach, which is what we were hoping for too. So and they believed in the game, man. And they had the NBA kind of connection happening with the NBA games they showcase now. So they was really, fired up about the opportunity of, being behind the story. But as, we went from the kids again to the legends, it was just like all of the people that, you grow up watching and looking up to. And, man, they delivered, man. It delivered.
It
really
did.
Cool. Meeting Dominique Wilkins, man, and he's just such a good soul. Or, Chris Mullen or Grant Hill, Tracy McGrady, Candace Parker, bro. It's just the game touched so many legends, man. So many people that went through that game and put on. And we saw the magnitude of the story, and it just fired us up more, man. It just made us like, all right, we got crazy on this. We have to.
Absolutely.
But the craziest part of that, we had to make it, 90 minutes. We want this to be, we can make this go on and on and on, man. It's so many stories.
Bro, I wanted y'all to do a part 2, low key. I was like, man, like, well, why we stopping here? Like, let's go.
So many stories,
Yeah.
And we wanted to, but it's like the vision that the brands had to what we have is just, we just trying to, maintain the integrity of the story in the film, but also make sure that, we are getting the boxes checked with them so we can get this film to come out,
Yeah.
In 4 years, man, 4 years from that time we was at the game,
Yep. From the beginning. And it's finally out there. It came to fruition.
Came to fruition, man.
Yeah. And it, when you said Dominique Wilkins, I forgot the other mutual connect is Dominique, because I feel like when Olivito,
yeah, absolutely down.
Yeah, she helped produce us some content for us on the film too. But I remember talking to her when we were mounting up, getting ready to go to Chicago and film. And she was like, "Oh, I gotta hit up my guy Jabari. Jabari's so tapped in the basketball culture out there."
Absolutely.
She told me the last name, and I was like, "Oh, I went to school with Jabari. I know all of them too." Like, absolutely, good thinking, Dominique.
Yep. Shout out to Dow for sure. She definitely pulled me in. I was so thankful.
Yeah, that was big because, like you said, like Carlton was saying, it's so many stories and like just monumental moments, and the way the game can like just change people's lives, mostly for the good, some for the bad, And one of the stories that we really wanted to like focus on and tell, Carlton was really passionate about, telling that story about how there's this Chicago legend, he's people are saying he's just as good as Kobe, if not better. You know, coming out of Farragut, you know, we find out that he's actually the reason that Kevin Garnett wanted to come play in the city and all those kind of things. So, you know, we reached out to you and was like, man, you think you can make that happen? So, man, like shout out to that, to you for helping us with that. But it was just like overall the story, you know, known the agency that like kind of like kicked it all off for the process of the movie. You know, real talk, they had a connection with, at the time, the CMO of McDonald's. It was a guy named Tarek who was head of marketing for McDonald's, and known is a creative agency. I'm sure they had done some work for them in the past, but they pitched that. They threw it out there, and it was like, hey, you should allow us to produce a documentary about the history of the game. And he was like, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do it. And then that's when, you know, our phones rang. And it was like, hey, we might have a director opportunity for you guys to do. And it's to tell the history of this story, you know. And
absolutely.
There, we kept it moving. We went in, and they partnered with Rock Nation to help us get that distribution deal. And it was tough too. That was a fight, you know, like Carlton said, like our go-to editor, Ruman, who in the film you see all of the great visual effects and collages and stuff. Like Carlton,
I love it. He killed that.
And Carlton and Ruman went crazy. They went crazy on that. But you know, it was one of those things where it was like, how do we tell this story and it not become like a commercial, you know? And so, you know, Rock Nation did a good job of letting people know when they started to reach out and shop the pitch tape that Carlton and Ruman, you know, worked real hard on, and we got the deck in a good place. They got that. They shopped it to damn near every streamer that's out there, and people loved it. People wanted to rock with it, but everybody else kind of had like their own vision for it, right? And one of the things that happened with Amazon was they allowed us to remain in creative control of the project and tell the story that we wanted to tell, you know, and help it not become just a glorified McDonald's commercial. And Amazon was a great partner for that. Rock Nation. Shout out to Lori York. She kept shooting big shots, getting us these meetings, boy. Because
you need those.
It got to a point where I remember telling Carlton, like, "Damn, I think we done met with everybody, bro. Like, what we gonna do? What's one of these deals we gonna take?" And then we got that email from Lori, said Amazon wants to talk. There's a great guy at the time who was with Amazon named Noah. He was a big basketball fan. He was coming off of the Shaq documentary at HBO before he came to Amazon, and he was like, "Man, I got childhood memories at the McDonald's game. You know, like I want this. You know."
Yes.
And that call, it wasn't even a real true pitch. It was just him wanting to meet the directors and like build with us and say, this is what we're going to do. And then that's what kicked things like, I need y'all to go to Houston for the 2023 game, you know, so you guys can get some content with Bronny, with Juju, Jada Watkins at the time. And we were trying to put this lineage story together where we talked about like the fathers and the sons, and because that was a big thing happening at the time. But yeah, you know, and you see how that comes out in the movie too with the Bronny and
It's funny that in that scene, I don't want to give anything away, but that's one of my homegirls who I used to work with who has a conversation.
She's great.
She was doing her job. Hey,
she was doing her job. Like that's all day. I was like, yeah, that's her. Like that's how she moved, which she doing what's right. So. But when I saw that popping, I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious!"
Yeah. And
shout out Steph.
We ran into her later after that at Summer League
Okay, yeah.
Later that year, and we was standing in the lobby, and she came over, and she was just like, "I'm sorry about that," and blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yo, it's
She
all
means
good.
well. She just do her job, but that's just her. Yes.
Yeah, but that's what youth
And
basketball is too. That's what amateur basketball is right now too. That was like one of the big things that we noticed. Like you started to see it in 2022. Just as simple as like going up to people, giving them release forms to sign. You had the majority of like the young kids saying, "Oh, let me get this to my mom to sign or my dad to sign." But then you were starting to see, "Oh, I'm repped by somebody. I got to get this to my agent."
Yeah.
But once we got into 2023, it was, and NIL was in full effect.
Oh yeah.
All them release forms was going to the momagers,
Yep.
the agents, like everybody. It was just like
that floodgate got wide open. Everybody, hey, send that to my business partner over there and my manager and my agent. It's like, bro, I'm just trying to take a picture right now. No, but I love that you guys go into that story because you give a glimpse into not only, I don't even want to call it youth athletics and youth sports anymore. Like this is semi-pro in my opinion, you know what I mean? But you get a glimpse into what it takes for these kids with NIL. You break that down and all those great things. You talk about. Again, trying to give too much away, but you really go into the investment of what it takes to bring a game like the McDonald's All-American game to fruition. And Bob Gaggen, his vision, like out the gate was, "Hey man, I ain't got no money, but I need y'all to underwrite this." You know what I'm saying? Like, and from an idea with Sonny Vaccaro and what it took on, like, the history and the nostalgia that comes along with it of like, it was just a game initially, now it's a whole business ecosystem in itself behind the scenes that nobody really understands and knows that. And so you guys were able to really articulate that very well for those that will pay attention to it.
That's dope, man. Yeah, I feel like I really hope the Bob Gaggen story that we did it justice, man, because that guy, man, we learned a lot about him, man, and he was a humble guy. He wasn't popular. He just had a vision, and a dream. And a dream, man. He wanted, all-star games to be played around the world. I mean, around America. So, it happened. He put John Wooden and Morgan Wooten in the forefront because, they popular. People know them in the basketball world. But, with doing that in the same sense, you see in the film, like, he really didn't get his credit. Of what he did, man. And we really hope that his family gets a chance to watch it and that, we did right by, their father, husband. And also, if this man can make it into the Naismith Hall of Fame, man.
Absolutely.
I was looking at the Hall of Fame. There's some people in there, but to start the McDonald's All-American game, bro.
That essentially was lineage into the league. The next step, it was like, hey, we get to pick from this game. Your evaluation truly starts here. All that other stuff before, it don't mean anything. But on this court here, this is where everybody's coming to evaluate you in practice as well as in the game. And here's how and so I agree with you. I definitely agree with that.
Right? And the history. I was going to say, and the history side of it with the NCAA that you see in the film. That's all I was going to say. Yeah, you can go.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
I was going to say to your point, Jabari, think about the power that the game had with Street and Smith. Magazine was popping then, right? So that's how you knew who was who. But then they just it's a name and a rank or whatever. But when you really come to that game or you there for that week and you at that practice, them scouts looking like, oh, okay, this who really hoop. Okay.
Yep.
So it's really the dog.
Yes.
This is really the killer.
Yes.
And the McDonald's, it was no other place that really brought everybody together like that on that type of platform where they could really see. And then college basketball, I don't know, you could correct me if I'm wrong, they don't have an all-star game, right? I don't know.
They started doing one recently. They started doing, but it's not to that magnitude. It takes place during March Madness weekend. I think Reese's, they've been like the partner along the way. But that was very recent. It was very recent. It's not it's not as big as like the McDonald's game. It's very recent. But you're spot on. Like for a while that wasn't there. So now this game was all eyes here, as well as the transition with the NCAA that's mixed in there too, that played a big role into where it's at today. So, you're spot on. Yeah. Man.
So hopefully, man. Shout out to Corey too for, tracking down the footage, man. Because once we got the Bob Gaggen, we was really trying to tell the story, and the EPs was like, man, I don't know if you all have enough to really tell his story. Right. We was fighting to get him in the film. And we couldn't find anything on him, man. He was like that quiet of a legend. Like articles we was reading, but it just wasn't enough. No pictures. And Corey found the footage, man. So shout out to Corey for tracking that down.
Hey, man.
Man, I'm glad he made it.
That just goes to like how Carlton and I work and how we create together. Because Carlton was doing, man, a hell of a job putting this story together. He's working, Carlton's got the producer in his ear, putting the battery in his back, Billy Burke, that we worked with on the film. And while they're like creating the pods and trying to like tell this story of the history of the game, it got to a point where it was like, how do we really nail telling the story of the history of the game when we can't find anything about the person who created it, And shout out to Carlton, like Carlton was cutting the hell out of this film, bro, and it made sense, right? It was like I remember watching the cuts as they would come in, and it was a good movie. It's a good, strong movie, and I just remember on one of the last cuts that came in, I was just like, it's good. We can put it out like this, but it would hit so much harder if could find something for Bob. And it was like a late night. It's like 2:00 in the morning, bro. Found the connect that had the footage. He started sending in clips of it, and Carlton and it was like that scene from Scarface when it was like, hey man, if it is what they say it is, you buy it and you bring it back.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
So they kept sending in little samples of it, and we were like, this might be the real deal. So it took the movie to a whole nother level. Like the way Carlton was telling the story, it worked. But for what we always were really trying to set out, and one of the things that we wanted to set out and do, which was to make it as complete as possible, it just took it over the top.
Yeah. Man, y'all killed that. I definitely can't go without that, talking about this, man. Like I said earlier before we jumped on this call, man, Chicago, Illinois is all through this film. I know everybody in New York, shout out Samir, who I know is on one of the EPs, but it really is. And I think having that vision that you guys had and still creating and bringing guys like Scoop Jackson on and, his just basketball knowledge of being a historian of the game. And when you look at the list of talent that played in that game as well that you guys were able to bring in with Candace Parker. I mean, you had, KG and Ronnie Fields and so many others. I mean, like you said, that list is long that comes from Illinois.
The list is super long. I have an economics background, so the nerd in me had to just see the data of like, all right, let me look at all these cities.
I want to know that data. I want to know that one because I got to have that ammo to go with my guys in New York and LA that love to do a little bit of this every now and again.
Hey, Wednesday, hey, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So I looked at the data, okay, very unbiased, man, and per capita for, the state of Illinois to other states, California is definitely bigger. New York is, a greater population. And per capita, Chicago to Illinois has the most McDonald's All-Americans of all of the places in America. It's like a crazy stat, you know?
That's crazy.
It's a crazy, crazy stat, man. So many, men and women that come to the game from the career from Chicago, man, and it's cool to see. Remember growing up, Sean Dockery, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And that rival, just so many legends. We showed like Ben Wilson. He technically didn't become
his name was in there.
Right, but he didn't make the list because he passed away before.
Yeah.
So, but at least Ronnie Fields made the list,
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
But so many McDonald's All-Americans from Chicago. Also, something that was interesting, and it is something I want to maybe dive deeper on a different time. But like a lot of the people, especially in the '80s, where it was making the McDonald's game from Chicago, like didn't even play in college for a full year, or they played 2 years and they dropped out, or it was something that had to be there, like where the city had a hold of you. It was some stories, man.
Interesting.
And so Scoop knows this. Like if you bring up the Scoop, because he kind of was touching on it, like behind when the cameras was off, of just like, man, Chicago is a tough city, right? And some of them guys were like, well, I was moving and grooving. I was the man at the crib, so I'm gonna leave DePaul. I'm gonna leave U of I and go back to Chicago, and then you end up getting in trouble or something.
Yep.
So it's a lot
caught
of
up
names.
in the streets. Yeah,
it's a lot of names that made the McDonald's game that's like didn't even like become Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
Become Mark Dwyer. Where I'm
like,
who is this person?
Terry Cummings? Like, it's so many names. It's ridiculous.
Names, so many. But
I'm interested because, like you said, you had Sean Dockery's, Will Bonham, the Sharon Collins, the Derrick Roses, the Candace Parkers, the Cappy Pondexters. Like, that's just in the 2000s. I'm just Jabari Parker. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't even really got into. We can go back a whole nother decade before then, where you got Antoine Walker, Nazi Muhammad. Like, you just have names on names, and that's my lane. I love talking basketball and culture and just. Being an encyclopedia of just information, like it is bananas to see the names that have come through here. And we aren't talking about just one and dones. We're talking like there's some all-stars, there's some potential Hall of Famers there. You know what I mean? It's in there. So there's a part of that conversation.
And it's a lot of big names that didn't make it, that became the biggest players of Chicago, right? Because actually what's crazy is like Will the Thrill didn't actually make it, if I'm not mistaken. Will didn't make it.
No, he didn't.
Dwayne Wade didn't make it. You know what I mean?
Bobby Simmons. Bobby
Simeon. You know what I mean? It's so many like great Chicago legends that didn't even make the game. That represent the city. I'm like, it's got to be others I'm thinking off the top. But man, Cap. I think Cap too is like she just missed it because she's older. Like she obviously would have made it, but I think the game wasn't out yet.
Wow.
Crazy. I think she's like a year before or something. But Cabby Point, was it Westinghouse she went to?
No, she went to Marshall.
Marshall.
Right down the street. Yep.
Marshall.
What was that, 2000?
Yeah.
I think she was like 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
I want to say, right before us.
Yeah.
Man,
Marshall.
What's the name? The big hype when I was in high school, Eddie Curry,
Yep. Big Ed, yep.
Yep, Eddie was supposed to be.
Wood, man.
Jack.
Ed, Jaleel Okafor, Q Rich. I mean, you just had this.
Q.
Sean Livingston. Like Illinois just had names and guys. And like I had AJ Guyton on the podcast. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Beyond Chicago, you got so many of them. Yeah, D. Brown, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many people. Many. Yeah.
Man, Jabari, you don't know, like, these the type of conversations right here when Carlton gets to talking these numbers and these stats. and he get in the room with, like, Samir. Like, the way that we talk right now, going hard for, like, Chicago, Samir would be the same with L.A.
He going with L.A., yeah.
On like, just spitting out names, going like it's a battle,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now it's real though. Like that's what it used to be basketball wise. It's gone so different as of late. But it used to be the New York versus Chicago. You know, we used to have that game, the Wendy's Classic. It also took place before that went away, right? It was New York versus Chicago. You had games between New York and LA, right? You had games between Chicago and LA. So like all of those games that took place, it's phenomenal. You know, the stories that it led to that you guys are even able to tell.
Yeah. And there's some young kids coming up now too that I feel like they're still holding it down. It hasn't been as many though, which is so interesting because I feel like, you know, kids leave and go to like a big academy or something, or La Lumiere.
The prep schools.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about that.
You got like Jeremiah Fears or Jeremy Fears. It's at Michigan State, right? They're from the crib. And then what I realized lately is the names that you see, or I'm sorry, the time that we spent during the pandemic, a lot of these kids are now finally getting their rhythm back. And now, when I tell you there's a few of them in middle school and coming up in high school right now, like you got quite a few of them. My family, Amir Tucker, you've got Darius Hawkins, like you got some kids they on the way. They got some games. So Chicago's gonna be back on that level real soon. I already see it.
We need to put the lens on.
Yeah, exactly.
Going, you know?
Exactly. They on the way, so that's fine, Samir. You my guy. You always my guy. We gonna have that conversation.
I'll give it to you. I know I'll give it to LA though. LA statistically has the most NBA players.
Yeah.
Most NBA players out of everybody. Like they got killers from the NBA.
Yeah,
so.
They do. Listen, I ain't gonna argue that. Y'all got them. The numbers don't lie. So listen, you got it.
You got it.
No, man. Yes, sir. Now I got to ask this: of all the footage that you guys were able to acquire, what were the stories that you weren't able to? That you would have loved to have still kept in there? Because clearly we are already at the hour where you had to keep it under that. And I know that there's so much other film out there and so many other stories. What were some of the ones that you wanted to keep in that you just couldn't?
Man, I'm telling you, man, this film was built for a series. There is endless stories. It is so many stories. Stuff that we haven't even uncovered, but from the stuff we had, like the snubs of the game, man. I mean, we had some really good stuff of like a lot of the players, man, didn't even know that John Wall wasn't a McDonald's All-American. So like that just threw them off for a loop. You know, you got a lot. It's interesting. Like Allen Iverson, you know, it's some real legends that didn't get that chance, but they was hot in high school. You know, some people just wasn't hot in high school, so you know they may have. But John Wall was hot. Wall was hot though, so his was a little controversial for sure. But like, I feel like that was one. You know, we had the story of like Tyson Chandler is a little interesting. Like, it's some meal ticket stories of like Tyson Chandler was like one of the faces of basketball AAU, like the change and the shift in that. He was like a little kid, and they did a whole like what was it, a 2020 special on him?
60 minutes.
60 minutes.
60 minutes,
Man, it was so good, man, and just like you feel the meal ticket element and how the shoe brands started coming like crazy, and Sonny Vaccaro like being a part of that, and he gave us his insight on it, and it's a deep story that kind of lets you know where basketball and everything was going. But it's like tough to make work in the film, and then like the modern generation of players that like those stories that exist. The slam dunk contest, another big one, bro. The slam dunk contest, the McDonald's game. For some reason, everybody participates in the slam dunk contest. They may not do it in the NBA, but they'll do it at the McDonald's game, right? And so God Sham got like, yo, what Vince Carter did in the slam dunk contest, he was doing that at the McDonald's game. He did the same dunks.
James White from the free throw line through the legs. You know?
Oh my goodness! I mean, I was trying to force James White dunks in there, so because I remember watching it. I remember he did 362 hand. I'm like, bro, he was going crazy. And David Lee still won that dunk contest, which is insane.
But, yeah, I know, which is wild. But Yeah, I remember that one. But David Lee had bounce. He did have bounce. I ain't gonna take it away from him.
They went crazy.
Exactly. It was that type of piece. Yeah, you got to get the crowd into it. We all know that. That's how you win. You got to get everybody else into it.
But like Zion did the dunk contest. Like, bro, it's something special there. But it was just tough to kind of get that all in the 90 minutes, and keep it moving.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was talk at one point, like when we were talking about like what was the total runtime of the film gonna be, and we had big dreams like this could be 3 hours,
Yep.
and Carlton and I start getting creative again, from a point where it's like let's try to do something to pay homage to Hoop Dreams. And we looked at the runtime that Hoop Dreams was, and we was like, what if we do a little Easter egg there, and we make the runtime of Meal Ticket be exactly the runtime that Hoop Dreams was,
Yeah.
Because for us too, it's like we knew making this movie, when people talk about the classics, the best basketball docs of all time, Hoop Dreams comes up, especially if you're talking to somebody from Chicago. So
Absolutely.
we knew that we wanted to be in that conversation in those talks too, and we just landed on like, I think Cootie was good for that too, where it was just like seeing all of the stuff that they had to take out of Genius, from him filming for 20 years, and GK just preaching you can't get married to everything, you got to decide what gets cut, what makes sense, what helps tell the best concise story, and one of the things like Carlton was talking about, like the snub category, the snub section that we were trying to iron out for the film, it just became so many logistics around it and people trying to poke holes into, was this really a snub, or was it this, or was it that? And then as you start to talk to McDonald's and the organizers of the game, and you see and learn what the actual criterias are and the standards that they hold to what gets you that letter in the mail to let you become a McDonald's All-American, you're like, okay, I see what you're saying, or, little rules there. Because when we filmed in 2022, I think the big name was Mikey Williams, I think, around the time, where it was just like, should Mikey have made it? Should he have not made it? And then you start to find out all the logistics of stuff, the rules, and, even the Tracy McGrady story was good too. That, like what he was going through in the game.
Yeah, we had Tracy's story. He really wanted to tell us that. I don't know if you know about it, Jabari. Like,
no, I didn't tap into that one.
Where he was a McDonald's All-American, #1 player in the country, but he refused to play in the game because they didn't fly his parents out.
Wow.
And he's like, man, I'm a guy that I'm coming from nothing in Florida.
From nothing, yeah.
And my parents can't afford to all come, but they want to come see me. And, he had to make a decision. And so instead he played in the Round Ball Classic, I believe, because they did that, But now I think that's a normal thing for, what the McDonald's game offers the parents. It was just in that time, Tracy McGrady stood his ground. And we wanted to show his story because he wanted that to be out there of like, yo, I love the McDonald's game, but
couldn't afford it.
Here's life. It's real.
And then the flip side of that, like I was saying, you find out, like with us doing our, putting our documentary hats on, it's like you get both versions or multiple versions of what happened. And from the McDonald's side of it, it's like, we can't give you money basically to pay for your family to come out here because that's against the rules, And then you start talking about putting things like your eligibility, at risk because we flew all of your people out here, which in your mind makes sense. They love you. They invest in you. They're the reason that you at all the camps and everything like that. But in that period in time, it was like, here, you're a McDonald's All-American.
Exactly.
He was just like, I love it, appreciate it, but I can't make the game, There's a bunch of stuff that, is on the cutting room floor with the you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, y'all, when I tell you, get anybody who clicks that link and watches that film, they're going to be so inspired because you guys did it justice. You told every story that needed to be told. You inspired so many. We even talked a little bit about the NIL space, right? And getting into that era, and because that's just where the game is, where it's evolved to right now. And I think that you guys did an incredible job of really articulating what the vision was. And I mean, it's incredible. And just being a fan of documentaries and basketball and these eras, you know, this was something special what y'all put together. I got a feeling it's gonna be holding some hardware up at the end of this whole thing, man.
Absolutely. I've been saying that since day one. Carlton be like, slow down, bro.
Hey man, no, y'all, hey. We got one. That's what they say. We got one. Hey.
Yeah. But that's our dynamic, man. Carlton keeps us level-headed and grounded, and really like, don't jinx it, bro. Don't jinx it. Just let it happen.
Hey, you need that. You gotta. It's all about balance. Hey, somebody got to go off the ledge and be like, man, this a killer. This gonna be it. And then somebody be like, hey, man, we're just gonna wait it out. We're just gonna let it see. You know, it's all about balance.
Meanwhile, I'm working on the speech already. You know.
As you should. As you should. Yes, sir.
That's funny.
Well, look, fellas, man, y'all are incredible. I'm so excited. So again, thank you guys for being on the second half.
Thank you for having us, man.
Thank you, man. Shout out Jerome, man. Got to shout out my cousin, man.
Yeah, got to shout him out. Yes, sir. One of the bros for sure. Well, look, thank you again. We'll be sure to check out on Prime Video. For all those watching the podcast, be sure to hit that like, follow, and subscribe. Oh, yeah, before we even get off, like, where can people stay in tune with you and keep up with you guys?
Yeah, man. Instagram. We got a website, stoneyandyates.com. And our Instagram is at Stoney and Yates, STONY.
For all the non-Chicago people who put E's in.
Right.
Right.
Y'all ain't put the E in there.
STONY and YATES. So
yes, sir.
And yeah, stay in tune.
Yes, sir. Because I'm wondering, I'm like, hey, man, what's next? I know y'all got to have something in the iron, or y'all celebrating, y'all just letting this be what it is.
I know. Carlton concocted something now already, man, that we can't wait.
Y'all cooking up. Y'all cooking up. I love it.
Yeah, it's time. It's time. We running, man. It's the beginning of the bell curve, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love it. Well, look, congratulations again. I'm excited to watch your guys' journey. With all those, hit that like, follow, subscribe, and we out. Peace.
Peace.